US, behind the scene. We've seen some of it come out in the public, but what matters is that the war on Iran has been planned for the past 20 years, if not more. And they spent ob obscene amount of resources and money just to plan this war. Like we're talking about one war game in which they spent $250 million, and that's one. They've done hundreds of war games since then. There are enormous think tanks, institutions which I don't know. They probably they're valued hundreds of millions of dollars. They're like full of academics, and all they do is study Iran and how to prepare the global West for a protracted war with Iran. And the objective has never been, let's not make Iran go nuclear. That's nonsense. The objective has always been Iran is a non-aligned country that has retained a sovereignty that is adversarial to our interests in the Middle East, which is total outpost on the region that allow us to extend our interests there. Um, and we have to take that away one way or another. If you look at Israel and Iran's GDP, Israel's higher. If you look at the production outputs in type of industry, like Iran dwarfs Israel. Like if Iran and Israel go to war one against another without the global West intervening, supporting Israel, it would be no contest. Just because of the industrial output that both countries have, the number of population, the sophistication in terms of technology. If they start producing missiles and shells and whatever, repair parts for what they have now. I'm not even talking about in the future. I'm talking now with all the advantages Israel has. Iran would still dwarf Israel. There is no contest there. So they have to destroy. They have to develop it, and the nuclear program is the perfect excuse to do that. It has Iran has had it since the 60s basically, and restarted it recently. But before Trump retreated from the JCPOA, Iran enrichment level was nothing. There was not even talks about Iran really trying to go for a nuclear weapon. And that has happened because Iran started, trying to hedge their bets and they changed their military doctrine on hedging, means they kept complying with the JCPOA, even though they were sanctioned, like they weren't complying. But they kept complying to it with the other member countries who stayed, and and they but they raise their enrichment level to create some form of leverage, in the sense of, look, I'm not going to go for an atomic bomb. I don't need to go for an atomic bomb, but if you're going to attack me, that's the card I'm going to play. So I can do it because I'm very close to it, but I'm not going to go over the threshold. And they've been on the threshold for years. It's not something that nothing changed in the last weeks or last months. So, and we have Netanyahu saying like 15 years ago that Tehran was months away, weeks away from an atomic bomb, and we should act immediately. We'll remember him in the UN with the drawing of the bomb, the cartoonish bomb, with he was like filling it up with um, you know with a pencil, with a red pencils, and saying, look, they're already at 90%. We're weeks away from this. They're going to have atomic bombs, and so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, what I wanted to say is that this ceasefire is just a ruse. Probably it serves Iran too, or else they would not have went with it. Probably they need to reorganize or whatever. But the war is not finished, and this is the surrearmament phase, and there is nothing that the public can do to stop it. I'm sorry to say this, but the US and the global West and the industrial complex, the Zionist elite, all these institutions and powers, and they have spent too much resources, too much energy too much money in this, and they will never find Iran this week because Iran's strength is Hezbollah. It's the asymmetrical warfare. Hezbollah right now is reorganizing. Syria has fallen. Um, there will not be another opportunity like this to take out Iran, and I don't think they're gonna let it slip. Unfortunately, this war machine is just reloading, recalibrating, and I think that the next strike, when that happens, the next U.S. intervention in a kinetic manner, because they've been in this war from day one. They bombed those facilities, but they always been in this war. The next time they intervene, I fear they're gonna move on, to make sure to take away the coastline of Iran in terms of capability to block those rockets which they telegraphed in Qatar. But
So I
that
wanted to
gave.
interject, brother. So
Okay,
you're
sorry.
saying,
Go ahead.
no, it's okay. So, and I did want to get to some other hands because I know that there's a lot of people that have been patiently waiting. So, what I wanted to kind of ask, so you're thinking that this is a temporary ceasefire, that this is going to kind of come back. It's going to come back heavy. And when it comes back, it's going to be the final blow. And you think at that point, there's going to be a regime, like what they are calling a regime change. Is that what I'm getting from what you're saying?
Yes, but I'm not predicting that far. I don't know how
Hmm.
this war is gonna go. I'm not saying there's going to happen a regime change or not. I'm not saying who's going to win, who's going to lose. Everything is up in the air because everything can change. But I believe that this ceasefire is tactical and a bigger offensive is coming.
So here's where I'll push back on that. And this is what I'll say is the US support, and this is why I think they have to have a false flag. This is why I think they have to have a false flag, is because the US is largely not supportive. And we saw MAGA really shatter during this time. The U.S. is largely unsupportive of a war. We do not want another Iraq, and we are we're very in tune to the fact that this won't be in Iraq. This will be a lot crazier than in Iraq, a lot worse, right? Because at the end of the day, the terrain, in and of itself, in Iran is very, very different, right? You also have, what is it, guys? Is it the seventh or eighth largest army in the world? I think they have a million man army. They have one of the largest. I'm sure you've got those stats. It's like a huge. It's like it's definitely top 10 biggest army. Am I right? I think. Can you guys hear me? Oh,
Yeah, we can hear you.
okay. Yeah, it's one of the largest armies in the world. Okay. Whereas when the United States walked into Iraq, it was at a very different time. The country was fractured. What you saw was, I think they were trying to splinter the country. They were trying to splinter Iran. They were trying to get the people to rise up, but they got the absolute opposite. Absolute opposite. So what you saw is as follows: no US support for a war. You saw that the country, instead of being divided, they became completely rock hard and supportive of their leadership. Okay. You saw that. And also, what you saw was Israel taking massive, massive blows. My opinion as to why the ceasefire was really pushed, Israel had no more interceptor missiles. So we can only make, I think, 60 interceptor missiles for their Iron Dome a year. Like that's what our capacity is. And the THAAD, forget it. The THAAD is like seriously finite. That's where my thoughts are. But let me get to some of the hands. Let's go to Bobby, and then I want to go back to Abu Sita and then go to Luke. Go ahead, Bobby.
Hey, thank you, Dee for having me. Sarah, it's good to see you. Doctor, as always, um, I feel an imposter syndrome up here on the stage with you. So you're always so great. I appreciate it, the time. I wanted to sort of, Sarah brought up the Ecuadorian thing. This sort of ties everything together, what I was going to bring up. I think they're done with Ecuador pretty much for the most part, because if you've noticed, they kind of snuck, everybody's talking about paying attention. This is something I really want to get to the attention of Americans. They open this thing, Alligator Alcatraz in Florida. They're going to build like some ICE detention center to hold, and I hate this term, illegal migrants, but whatever you want to label them as. And I just want to point out to America, and U.S. citizens, people in the West, everybody, if you think they're going to build these facilities just for um, brown people, you're highly mistaken. If you look at everything they've done with the Patriot Act, I don't know if anybody knows about the Patriot Act 2 that was introduced. They got shot down, but it's still a piece of paper floating around where they can take your citizenship if they label you as supporting terrorism. And again, I've talked about Project Esther. If anybody knows about that, you can kind of see the ducks they're lining up in a row. Because I completely agree with Didi. They're going to do something probably going to be in the Northeast. Something a lot of people forget too, and I'm going to go full tinfoil hat here, but it's backed up with evidence. Weather manipulation is a thing. The United Nations banned weather manipulation. I think it was in the 70s. You're not allowed to use it in warfare, so you're not allowed to use it against your enemies. There's nothing against domestic use though. And there was a bunch of weird stuff going on in Arkansas last night, which it looks like they've scrubbed it from the internet because I was looking for it today. They kind of mention it, but it's really hard to find the little radar blip that happened. It might still be on Twitter. People were claiming it was just a glitch, but it was two different radar systems that saw the same thing, so it couldn't have been a complete computer glitch on the one. And I'm not an expert, but something's going on, yes. And I think it's gonna probably be in the Northeast. Fourth of July, I think I'm 100% with Didi. They're gonna stoke our nationalism. Fourth of July would be the time to do it. That anybody that was against the war on the fence, America's biggest city during the 4th of July. I mean, that's just too easy. So just everyone just pay attention. I appreciate oh, and also this just came in like an hour ago. Trump says Pakistan has nuclear weapons now, so maybe they're going to shift the agenda, or they're setting up manufacturing consent for their next altercation or something in between. But the machine it just never stops. So just pay attention and build communities. And I love y'all. Thank you for the time.
No, I'm now concerned with that weather manipulation that you just brought up because we did see it during oh, who was it that they hit? I think it was when Iran fired off after was it Ania? I think it was that first wave of True Promise, where we saw that actually Israel threw up a synthetic cloud so that they can disguise what the actual hits were. So that's interesting to kind of tie that in.
Yeah, and
Thank you
and
for that.
we know Israel and the U.S. doesn't follow, international law, so I would not put it past them at all.
That's a new fear unlocked. Oh, sit there. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, just the timing of this Financial Times headline right now to coincide with Hegseth's press conference. They pretty much just said that initial intelligence reports indicate that Iran still has access to all its enriched uranium. And you know what? I think a lot of things in politics are, yes, it's complicated. We're working with a blind spot. We're only viewing things through like the media lens. But I do think that it's things can be pretty obvious. It's obvious that they're leaving room for the ability to go back into Iran. And if you look at who's the one that's parroting all this intelligence of the nuclear facilities still being attacked, it seems like it's all hardline war factions, right? So the Israeli military officers are the ones coming out and saying it seems like we've only set back Iran's program by a couple of months. And in the United States, you have the traditional establishment guys saying that we haven't set back Iran's program, and they're the ones leaking all this information. It's clearly a strategic leak, and it's deliberate to leak out the information that we haven't succeeded, and Israel is arguably, not even arguably, like definitively in a much more dangerous position now. The Middle East is in a way worse off place because of this. We have two countries who haven't resolved any of the issues between them, basically told to go back to their corners and wait. And that's not a condition for a comprehensive settlement where their economies are open and they can kind of like be secure in with one another. Also, another element I want to bring up is how did Israel pull off all these strikes on Iran? And it's clear now. See, more as we move past the ceasefire day, more and more information will come out, and they'll start shaping our minds for what the next setup for them is. And so, how did Israel conduct all these airstrikes off in Iran? They basically flew through Turkey into Azerbaijan, and they went in through the Caspian Sea. So they were using the Caspian Sea, traveling 1,500 kilometers just to hit these guys with drones. There hasn't been one video of a Israeli fighter jet flying over Iran. Every single video of launchers getting hit or radar systems getting hit in Iran were done through drone feeds and basically suicide drones flying right into whatever target that they had. So also, on top of the Fordo and Natanz facilities being destroyed, another lie that was basically used for Israeli and American domestic consumption is that Israel somehow had air superiority over Iran when we haven't even seen one video showing a airplane or even the sound of an airplane flying over Iran. And we'd likely see that for a country of 90 million. Also, I just want to finish off with this. Simplicius the Thinker, he's a well-established analyst on Substack. He went into the GBU 57 bombs that were dropped on Natanz. Do you know that the United States only has 20 in its entire arsenal, and they dropped, I believe it was 14 or 16? They only have 20. And that just goes to show how much the glacial pace of how long it takes just to build these bombs. So you're telling me the entire arsenal of the United States Air Force of the GBU 57, which the first time they've ever been used was last week when they dropped them on the nuclear facilities, didn't work. And also they're not going to replenish their stockpile. So it just makes sense for them to say that it worked, because what an embarrassment. Your strongest munitions other than a tactical nuke weren't able to complete the job. So we have a couple of things there. Some logistical issues about going back to work. Is Turkey and Azerbaijan going to allow Israel to use their airspace again, seeing how volatile the region got? Is the United States domestic environment going to be ready to be set up for a war with Iran? Trump's approval rating dropped down to 41%. That's probably the reason that he had to come out and drop the F-bomb and scold Israel so publicly like that. His approval rating dropped 41%. I don't see the condition of them being able to drag the United States in. And back to your point, guys, is that unless there's some type of false flag, but again, with the false flag, we're all anticipating it, right? So I suspect it may be more creative than meets the eye. Anyways, thank you guys. I appreciate you letting me speak here.
No, thank you. I threw you the co-host, brother. Grab it if you can. Here, let me send it again. Help me out with this. So what I want to say here is I agree, right? I agree that we all see it. Y'all on X, God bless y'all. You guys are smart. You guys are smarter than the average bear. We've got a boomer population that just does not want to see reality. We've got a boomer population that just wants to they want to stay steadfast in what they know, right? If you're Muslim, you're a bad guy. If you're Middle Eastern, you're a bad guy. If you're Israel, God blesses those who bless Israel. They want to consistently stay in their way. And that's my conversation, right? The boomers are aging off, but they are still vaguely a part of the um, surveys that we see and the polls. So my fear is for the uneducated masses. My fear is for the masses that are continuing to stay a part of mainstream fake stream media. That's my fear. And I don't think, I can tell you, my daughter plays lacrosse, right? So, she's on a really big club team. She's, God bless her, man. She kicks ass. I'm so freaking proud of this kid. She's a goalie, and we get a lot of high fives at games because she does really well. This kid's talented, man. She's got no fear. And I'm exposed to so many different states because of this, because she plays against different states, right? And I can tell you that this was all going down on Saturday and Sunday. We were at a tournament, and I don't know. I think there were 7 states that were there, and I can tell you that the majority of Americans do not have this education. When I tell you the majority of Americans were like, yeah, let's fuck up Iran. We're gonna kick some Iran ass. They done fucked with the wrong ones. And this kind of shit and that kind of shit. And just understand. And they done 9/11. Now I'm hearing Iran did 9/11. So, you know, uh, I get it that we're seeing it, but my fear though, Abu Sita, and I don't know how we pose for this. My fear is for the rest of Americans because they're not seeing it. That's my fear. But real quick, guys, just some breaking news in the nest. Hey, Luke, thank you so much for putting things up. But do me a solid, please don't put anything in the guys. Everybody, please don't put anything in the nest unless you ask for it. Just because I really want to keep it to breaking news, if that's okay. I think I spoke too soon. Just now, apparently in a televised. I'm waiting for video confirmation. Just now in a televised message, the Supreme Leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei, congratulations on the victory over the fallacious Zionist regime who has crushed under the blows of the Islamic Republic. I congratulate our dear Iran's victory over the US regime who entered the war directly because it felt that if it didn't, the Zionist regime would completely destroyed. It entered the war attempting to save the regime but did not achieve anything. So those are pretty strong words. We'll see how it goes. So let's get to the other hands. Let's go to Luke Levant, and then we'll go back to you, Bobby. Welcome to the space, Luke. And guys, please
Thank,
repost the space. Go ahead, brother.
yes. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, Richard Medhurst and Syrian Girl has been busy exposing what's happening in Syria with whole, Christian churches being bombed. Now, because of the Zionist orchestrated regime change in Syria, that's what happens afterwards. Well, now it's happening in America. Tallahassee put out a tweet about a character in Arizona who ticks all the boxes for being Zionist. And here's the scary thing. I spoke to him on May 14th because I found him because I was investigating his Jewish lawyer, Adam Zickerman, who's in the Washington Post, saying a fundamentalist sect member of the Fundamentalist Church of Latter-day Saints. The whole case against him is religious persecution after the FBI said the whole case was him having sex with his 9-year-old wife. So so that's why I contacted this Jewish terrorist, this Zionist terrorist. I mean, he believes that Jesus and Muhammad and all that is wrong, and the Old Testament is right. He's a pretty crazy extremist, but he's got Hebrew tattoos all over his neck. And Tallahassee made a good point, and I back her up on that. But this kind of terrorism has happened in America. And on the geopolitical scene with like Iran and stuff, America knew, Mossad and the CIA published studies and knew those GBU-57s couldn't penetrate Iranian bunkers because Iran's been leading the world in reinforced bunker concrete technology. And they've done studies on, the intelligence they have from Iran. And Curious Droid did a presentation about it 2 whole years ago. When the pretext for bombing Iran was a publicity stunt, and it cost a fortune, and they knew it wouldn't achieve any strategic end. It was like it was a PR stunt. It was like fly the B-2s and rah 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 the US military with Israel kind of thing. And you do know Trump went to visit the dead Lubovich's grave, Rebbe Lubavitch, and his son is Jared Kushner, a slumlord. So I'm not a fan of Trump, and I'm even more not a fan of Hillary Clinton. It's just like America right now is just as messed up as in 2004. But then you had a choice between Skull and Bones Kerry and Skull and Bones Bush. And what happened to the guy from who exposed that in the mainstream media? How did his life end? So this is the kind of sick, twisted world we're in, where you have to be critical thinkers and expose what's really going on. So I'll be putting up the receipts that I was talking to this Jewish terrorist before it actually happened, or this Zionist terrorist before it happened. It's a small world, isn't it?
It sure is, brother. And you know, it's something that you hit on. You're not a fan of Donald Trump. You're not a fan of Hillary Clinton. Why can't we get leadership that's worth a damn in this country? Hello, can we get somebody that can run that I can actually get behind? I can't get behind the guy. I'm sorry, this is going to offend some people. I'm glad that he is away from. I'm talking about Zohar in New York City. Mamdani. I I'm really happy that he's willing to not bend the knee to the establishment, right? I'm really happy that he's not willing to bend the knee to the apex of the world. And he said something that I did love. Listen, you know, if I win, I'm not going to Israel. Everybody that was asked on the stage, Cuomo and the other motherfuckers, where are you going after you win? Israel. Motherfucker, take care of New York City, right? But and I liked that. I liked that he said that. But some of his socialist views, I can't get behind. Like, why can't we get some seriously good people that are we the main like the main Americans, right? Because the majority of Americans are middle of the road. The majority of us are dead set in the center. We see things from the right that we like, we see things from the left that we like, and we can't find a candidate that just checks our box. So that was interesting when you said that. I appreciate that. Let's go to Levant. Welcome to the space, Levant.
Yeah, I just want to make some points, but someone said earlier that there's only drones being used. That's false. Israel's already published its, bombings and stuff like that. Israel has TV guided munitions, even for like Israeli fighter jets. With the airspace, they pass through Syrian airspace, and there's evidence of that with drop fuel tanks and stuff like that. But I just wanted to say that I think Iran's strike was a lot more long term than people realize, and it's not as random as people make it seem out to be. Iran you can gauge like the political goals and stuff like that by what Iran was striking, and one of them was research facilities. That's something you strike that is like long term, and then the war was the operation was a lot more pre-planned than people realize. A lot more political theater. Sarah posted about how the operation against Iran was already strategized like a year prior or something like that. People often highlight the U.S. having pre-planned strikes and stuff like that, but not Iran itself. And yeah, I don't think Iran was just seeking to obliterate Israel, which was what a lot of people were thinking. I just think it's a long-term political strategy, and it was mostly a negative reinforcement to Israel striking Iran.
That was concise. Thank you so much for that. Let's go to Bobby, and then we're gonna go to Ibrahim. AR, I don't know if your hand's up. I don't see it, but jump in with your hand up if that's okay. Go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, I was gonna originally touch on what Abu said, but I wanted to point out what I'm not sure if it was Levant or the person before that. It doesn't show me who's talking on this end. They mentioned about what happened to the person that mentioned the skull and bones. I mean, they've been doing that for years. What was the Epstein girl got hit by the bus, and then she posted on Facebook she had 4 days to live, and then they said she didn't, and then she died, and I don't remember her name, but they've been doing that to the one who put 2 bullets in his head but they called it a suicide. The one that worked for Clinton during the DNC that I think leaked all the stuff to Julian Assange. Anyways, we know they're up to evil stuff. But so, Abu, you said how many of those bombs did you say they dropped? And they had it. It was like over half their arsenal, or
Yeah, so they have 20 total on record, and I believe that it's accurate just because of the complexity of building these 30,000-pound bombs is so much, and it just costs so much to make them and also to maintain them, that they've released the figure of having 20 in the total United States Air Force arsenal, and they've dropped, I believe it was 14 or 16. I don't know the exact number, but yeah, definitely over half their arsenal. I don't think they're ever going to make them again, or I think they're just going to be decommissioned at this point. But they pretty much dropped them all at the Iranian nuclear facilities, and they didn't work. So, I mean,
yeah. So
yeah.
no, I was just because I wanted to point out something. That's sort of what bothers me as an American is what they're doing to the military. Kind of like to me, it looks like it's designed obsolescence. I can't think of a better word. Maybe it's has in military, but what Didi's pointed out with infrastructure, what Trump's doing with the dollar. I mean, if anybody remember, like if you look at history, how did Rome fall? Right, they spread their military too thin. So if he's got, I say all that because everyone is worried about some sort of invasion from China or wherever else with the borders being open, and then we're just spreading our military thin. It's really making us extremely vulnerable. And again, if there's any sort of, again, going back to what Didi started this space with, if there's any sort of biological event in a major city or in a major metroplex, look at the interstate system in this country, right? If you break one bridge down one highway in a certain metropolis, and you've got millions of people that are essentially trapped, right? So it's not looking good. I just wanted to point that out. That to me, when I hear they drop over half their bombs and they're shooting down F-35s, and it's like, are they purposely depleting our military on purpose? It's just full tinfoil hat there. So I appreciate you letting me point that out. I'll end there.
No, I
Wanted to point out.
appreciate that's a really important point. So I got to get Rance in here. Anybody that's friends with Rance, please send it to him. He said a statistic to me and shit. I kept meaning to ask him to get me that information because I wanted to tweet about it. Guys, apparently our military arsenal, we're at a 7-day run rate. And I can tell you that I trust Rance. He is so like in the weeds of really like looking up information and really, really like, he can back up every single claim he makes. So when he said that to me, I took it for bond, right? 7 days? Are we good? And we're still sending shit to Israel.
Yeah, and we sent all that to Ukraine over the years. I mean, to me, that's what it looks like. They're trying to deplete it, let all these people in. They can have some things, and then we're just sitting there with our thumb in our ass, right? And they
Mhm.
bring out the robot dogs, and we're all cooked. I don't know if y'all seen those.
No, I haven't seen that. Stop unlocking my fears, bro. I'm barely gonna sleep with this.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm just teasing. Welcome to the space, Ibrahim. Go ahead.
Hi. I was listening and I heard some people saying that not this is my opinion. They can have their opinions. Maybe they are right and I am wrong. They were saying that Israel is gonna attack Iran again soon, and I mean, why would they do that? What's the point? To lose again?
So I'll give you my intake.
Okay, then I'll continue.
I'm sorry. This is what, because I know you messaged me too. So here's where I'm going to give you my input, right? And let's stick with this question, guys. I think that's a really good question, and I think we should go around the room. So where I think that Israel is going to do it again, and what's the point, is that they've wanted this. Benjamin Netanyahu has had this. My God, I'm embarrassed to kind of use this word, but whatever, you guys can roll with it, right? Because this is me. I'm very real. He's had this hard on for Iran. I mean, we saw it Libya, Sudan, Syria. I mean, he's told us the plan, right? There's a saying, um, tell me who you are, and if I'm paraphrasing it because now for whatever reason it's not in my brain, but tell me who you are, and I don't believe you. It's shame on me, right? And he's telling us what his plan is. He's saying it. He said Iran is their plan. So what's the point, brother? Is that I think they finally got America to capitulate in some form, and that's where I think they're gonna try to go on it. So let's, if it's okay, Brahim, I know you wanted to say a lot more, but if it's okay with you, let's go around the room with this. Let's start with Abu Sitta.
I didn't make my point. I just need to make my point,
Oh,
and
go
then
for
you
it.
can do it. All right. With all due respect to everybody here, the Israeli does not think like this. And I'm going to explain how they think. First of all, it's not Netanyahu's plan. Now we can debate this another time. It's the United States plan. Netanyahu works for the deep state, and the decision maker of all of this is the United States. It's not Netanyahu. And the ceasefire is the biggest proof. When the deep state and the United States decided it's time to stop the war, Netanyahu stopped the war. And because Netanyahu also wanted to stop the war because of the damage. Now, this is not my point. What's the point of opening a front right now with Iran again after they tried it and they witnessed that their defenses are failing, their offense is failing as well, failing to a degree. They did achieve some points, but they did not destroy the nuclear facilities. They know it very well. The leaks from the White House are very clear. They know that the only way to do that is boots on the ground. There is no other way for the Israelis and the American to destroy the nuclear facilities. Now, can they do that at the moment? No. Can they do it in the future? Maybe. How? The Israelis and the Americans right now need Iran to be weakened. In order for Iran to be weakened, their allies in the region need to be weakened as well. So, for them to have this point and to be able to advance a step closer to Iran, they need sectarian problems in the Middle East. This is why, for the past 2 days, we are witnessing ISIS attacks in Syria, also catching ISIS members in Lebanon, and preparing for the attack, and also receiving threats, massive threats, from a lot of sleeper cells in Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, that ISIS is going to move again soon. This is the point that the Israeli needs to work on. Why? Because the Israeli right now, if this happens, if this division in the region happen, first of all, the allies of the Iranians will become weaker and will be busy with this sectarian war. Second, the Israeli can advance forward. Now, there are reports 5 minutes ago from Yedaot Ahronot and a lot of credible journalists that said that that Syria and Israel are going to sign a peace treaty very soon, and Syria admitted that the Golan Heights is for the Israelis. This is not enough for them. They need to dismantle Iraq. They need to dismantle northern Syria, because the Golan doesn't make a difference for the Israelis. I'm gonna explain what I mean by it doesn't make a difference. The supply route for the axis of resistance, it doesn't pass through the Golan Heights. The Israeli knows this. It needs it's another route. This is where the Israeli needs to reach. And remember, like 1 month ago, when the Turks were advancing in Halab and the Israeli attacked that area. Why did they attack that area? And back then, Netanyahu said a very remarkable statement. He said, Erdogan is closing one eye. This is exactly what he said. What eye is he talking about? He's talking about the supply route. For the Israelis and the Americans, not the Israelis work for the Americans. For the Americans, to destroy the nuclear facilities, they need more bases on the borders of. You just spoke about Turkey and Azerbaijan and how much it's not feasible for the Israelis to do that, right? So basically, for them to do that, they need more advanced bases in Iraq, in northern Syria, even on the borders with Turkey. Other than that, they know very well, they're not stupid. They are extremely smart people. The only thing is that we've been occupied by them for a very long time. We just know how they think by now. For them to take out Iran's threat, there is only one way to do it. That way is boots on the ground. In order to achieve that, they need to divide the region, push more advanced military bases next to Iran, and then occupy Iran through forces that are on the ground and tanks and etc. And you guys know the story. At the moment, it's very dumb, and they are not dumb for them to attack Iran again the same way the war was happening and lose again.
Thank you for that, Ibrahim. Let's clear some news out of the nest really quickly, just so we can get through it, and then I'm going to go back to the hands. FedEx. Let's go to FedEx. Okay, FedEx faces criminal complaint in Belgium over arms shipments to Israel despite regional restrictions and a lack of permits. U.S.-made fighter jet components transited through Belgium en route to Israel, which resulted in crime complaints from local peace groups. Also, I will let the person that put that up go through it. Just now, President Trump just tweeted out on Truth Social. Rumor is that the fake New York Times and fake news CNN will be firing the reporters who made up the fake stories on the Iran nuclear sites because they got it so wrong. Let's see what happens. So anything that's kind of push. And guys, please like, share, and repost the news, because that's a big part of the space, is that I want to be consistently getting you guys news, because I think we can make educated assumptions as to the next moves of geopolitics when we have everything.
Can I say
So
one more thing, please? Because I heard it a lot yesterday on
Mhm.
Spaces. Okay, for my dear Americans, no, Iran wasn't afraid of the Americans for them to tell them prior to the attack to leave the bases. It was very clear. Enrich uranium for American soldiers' lives. It's that simple. Iran got the enriched uranium out, and it's safe. In order for that, because they did that and the Americans warned them before, they allowed the American soldiers to leave the base and stay alive. The equation is very simple. Enrich uranium, American soldiers' lives.
thank you for that, Ibrahim. Go ahead, Abu Sitta.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying earlier, Ibrahim, that it's clear that they have extensive back channel negotiations because as part of the deal to accept the ceasefire, Iran was allowed some sanctions relief to export oil to China. And I was saying earlier how the Haifa port, the IMEC trade corridor that Israel really wanted, is completely wrecked now because Haifa got hit so hard. And I just want to say, like, even if people have different ideas about the situation in the Middle East, isn't the whole point is that we're just all trying to find the truth about what's happening and understand what's happening, right? So, I mean, I think it's good that we have different ideas and that we could say that, oh, okay, Israel may not go back to war. I would say that I think you're right. They might not go back to publicly declared war, but Israel's the king of plausible deniability. They're the covert operation kings over here. Their strong suit is covert operations. I think they'll probably go back to using drones, but not officially declaring it. You know how Israel constantly bombs targets throughout the Middle East, but they always fail to comment on it just to, separate themselves from the incident. So I think without the United States, that's their only option, right?
If they do
Here,
that, they will be attacked. This doesn't work with the Iranians, brother. This doesn't work. Look, you can say anything about Israel. You can say they are delusional, they are criminals, and it's true, all of that. But there is one thing that the Israeli is not: suicidal. They will not do that right now. I wrote 3 tweets, and I'm sorry I'm talking about it, but yesterday one, today one, and the day before it one. The one I wrote yesterday, it said the war has just begun. It's true, but not traditional war, bombing. No, the Israeli and the Americans are much more smarter than this, especially the Americans. They are much more smarter than this. They want to change the regime in Iran, and they figured with a war, they cannot do it. They need to do it on the ground. Many factors. The people, they need to change the regime through violence inside of Iran, and they need to change it through their troops moving forward in Iran. That's the only way. At the moment, it's not feasible. They need to weaken Hezbollah more. They need to weaken Ansarullah, and they need to weaken Al-Hashd al-Sha'bi. After they do that, then yes, they might be able to push for might, and I didn't say 100%, might be able to push forward inside of Iran.
Thank you for that. Let's go to, I think Gregor was up before Godfroy. You know what? I think before all of you, I think JG was up. Let's go to JG, Gregor, Godfroy. Go ahead, JG. Welcome to the space.
Morning, Gigi. Thank you for allowing me to come up. Hello, Abraham. It's been a long time since I've heard you. Um, I know you've been saying this from the beginning, and so have I, that it's playing out exactly the way we thought it was. I didn't think that they were going to get anything out of this. You definitely have to have boots on the ground. Otherwise, Hamas would be defeated, and Israel would just roll right in. They're not really boots on the ground. So, anyways, yeah, this is going to be a prolonged thing. It's going to be, under the radar. That's what I think is going to happen. But it really shows you the character of the country, of Iran, when they value even soldiers' lives over the politics. That says a lot. The United States is the opposite. It's very sad. Anyways, thank you guys.
Thank you for that, JJ. I believe. Oh, Dragon is. Let's go to Gregor. Godfrey Dragon. Go ahead, and guys, if your hands are up, my app is always glitching, so just keep putting them up. I'm sorry to be a pain in the ass, but it's always glitching. I never see hands. Go ahead, Gregor. Welcome to the space.
Okay, thank you, Didi. So I wrote a long summary article about the June 21 and June 23 military action. I put it in the comments. I also saw already way before the attacks happened the thread by an NPR science editor and correspondent, which I put up in the nest. It's from June 17th. And it explains in great detail why Fordo cannot be penetrated. I mean, it's still up to just look at it yourselves. But like the main thing is the massive penetration, or the penetration of these massive ordnance penetrators was stated to be 60 feet, but only in ideal ground. Fordo is under rock, so significantly less than ideal ground, so significantly less penetration by a factor of, let's say, 5 or something. You can look at it, look at the numbers yourself. And yeah, that's why what we are seeing right now about Fordo supposedly having been penetrated is all political theater. Of course, in war, all parties lie, so I fully expect the United States, Israel, and also Iran to lie, like play up their own successes and downplay the failures of the other side. Everyone's doing that. But yeah, it's political theater for a purpose, I think. They want an exit route from escalation. And to do that, it's nice for the narrative if you can end with some kind of success. And yeah, the supposed success is the alleged penetration of Fordo that, by all appearances and to the best of my understanding, has never happened. But yeah, you can look at the technical details yourself. Up in the thread, already analyzed way before this, or days before the strike, that it was not going to happen, or it's extremely, extremely, extremely unlikely to happen. And yeah, just look at the evidence yourself. I am now integrating that thread into my article, so you'll also be able to find it in my article under section 1.3. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for that.
Didi, thank you for the
Hey,
time you gave me. I will be back if you guys are here in 1 hour. I just have one thing to say before I leave. Let's say they destroyed Fordo. Can they destroy the know-how? They can't. Iran already has the know-how, right? That's the problem the Americans have. It's not about a nuclear facility. It's about a regime that is telling them no, a very important regime in the region.
so just something.
Thank.
I don't know if you saw this yet, or you talked about this, Didi. Iran supposedly broke up an Israeli false flag plot that they released. I don't know if
That's the first tweet that I've got in the nest.
Yeah, I just saw it now. Adam posted it, and I saw a couple other sources. I just thought I'd bring that up since, yeah. Sorry.
No, that's actually why I opened this space. It's literally the reason for my title. So anybody that wasn't here in the beginning, let's kind of go through. That's the first tweet in the nest, guys. I would really, really, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate it if everybody can share, quote tweet it, because I think that we really need to get out ahead of this. I'm seeing a false flag incoming in days. Just Google or use Yandex, whatever search engine you want to use. Google sleeper cells. You are going to see article after article after article from the past few days. And so Israel is planning to, and it's in the first tweet that's in the nest, guys. So just please share it, like it, whatever the hell you can do. And if you don't like mine, do your own. Please don't do your own. Google it, use your own articles. But I think we should all really talk about this and please share out the space, guys. Breaking Israel is planning to carry out a false flag operation in the United States on the pretext of Iranian sleeper cells to drag the US into an all out war with Iran. But Iranian intelligence foiled the plot and informed the US before it happened. This came out from the Tehran Times. Really super important that we discuss this, guys. Really, really super important. No, I appreciate that, Bobby. I think we are at Godfroy and then Dragon next. Welcome to space, Godfroy. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, thank you. I'm doing very well. Thanks for hosting this space. I really appreciate it. On the subject of false flags, look, I'm not trying to spread fear or anything, but there is a document that everybody should read. I posted it in the Nest. It's called the National Blueprint for Biodefense, and it mentions a hypothetical event where 280,000 people will die on July 4th, 2025. And the reason why I put that document in there, why I think we should all read it, is we all know what happened with Event 201 and what happened after that. These people seem to telegraph their moves. And again, I'm not saying this will happen. I'm not trying to spread fear, but I think everybody, for their own edification, should read this document and research it because it's very alarming. And I think it's on page 9 where they talk about the projected deaths. And the question that I kept asking is, why would they in this document mention this specific date of July 4th, 2025, which has so much significance? It's the 250th anniversary of our Independence Day. So I kept asking myself, why are they choosing this date? And it's very alarming that of all dates they chose this date. So I just want everybody to check that document out. Please research it. Let's keep each other informed on that. But I wanted to ask a question to the room, which is a very dark question, but it's a question we need to ask, which is, if Israel committed a false flag attack in the next week, or if they were caught trying to commit a false flag attack, would our military tell the public? Would our military alert the public that they stopped an Israeli plot to kill Americans? Or would they sweep it under the rug? And my fear is that it would be the latter. They would sweep it under the rug. They wouldn't tell the public. I mean, there's no way our military didn't know about 9/11. Who in the military knew about it, I don't know, but there's no way that they could not know about that. So I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are on that question. Thank
Well,
you.
I mean, if you look even right now, he's sweeping Netanyahu's whole thing under the rug. Look at the USS Liberty. Look at 9/11. I mean, you just look at the track record. So I don't see why they wouldn't sweep it under the rug. I don't understand it. You know, your wife cheats on you 900 times, and then she says, "I'm going to Bennigan's." You know, like, what do you? I mean, when do you finally give up? Right? Like, when you say, "All right, this is enough, yo." Like, I think you might be a hoe. Like, so I don't know. That's my opinion.
A hoe for sure.
Interesting analogy.
A hoe for sure.
But yeah, I agree.
Now, so here is where I'm at. That 2 weeks, wasn't that July 4th?
Yeah, it's exactly July 4th.
Guys, they are the masters of manipulation. Anybody that doesn't know me, will welcome in. I'm Dee Dee, recently here from TikTok. That's really where I hosted most of my spaces for the past 2 years, just about 2 years, year and a half over that. Um, I'm Palestinian American. I'm used to their bullshit. Okay. I am used to the Zionist regime's bullshit. They lay the foundation. That's what they start. Okay. Think of it as building a brick house that they're eventually going to crumble. So they lay the foundation and then they start to see if they can guard like you all right, you keep saying the same thing over and over again. Do you guys realize they use the exact same phrases over and over and over again? Israel's America's greatest ally. God blesses those who bless Israel. They keep putting out the exact same thing because they understand that our mind frames are for lack of a better word, we're really busy people. So I don't mean to say anything about us Americans in a negative light, but we're busy, right? So if you keep repeating the same thing, we're simple, right? You keep saying the exact same catchphrases, they catch on. That's why they're called catchphrases. So they keep repeating the exact same shit over and over and over again. And now they're doing that with sleeper cells. Now we're hearing this with July 4th. They're laying the foundation or what, oh well, we knew this. Wow, we knew this was going to happen. Holy shit, we read this on CNN. Holy shit, we read this on Fox. We knew this was going to happen. See, our United States intelligence told us this was going to happen. See, Iran really was the bad guys. See, this is laying the foundation for what they are about to do, right? Eretz Israel, laying the foundation. I put out a video this morning of a documentary that was found from 1948, like the old cameras, the ones you had to roll up, right? They were literally telling us this from the beginning. They're really bad. They're really great manipulators, but they're really bad at thinking that we're all stupid. And we're not stupid because we've woken up, right? And that's where I'll say to that. Normally, Dr. Rashanik is very quick, so I want to go to her, and then I want to go back to Dragon. Sorry, Dragon, ladies first. Go ahead, Dr. Rashanik.
Just wanted to let you know that I'm back. Sorry, guys, the interview ran a little bit long, but
No,
wow,
no
the space
worries.
has
Welcome back.
grown.
Oh, has it? You know, I don't even check. Oh, wow, we're at 600. Thank you, guys. Everybody repost.
And make comments. If you can't get up on stage, write your question or your comment in the pill. Thanks so much, Didi. Very quickly, it's not that we're stupid. I just have to pull on my little scientist hat for a second. When you repeat, first of all, when you read something, especially if it's like we're reading the news on social media or wherever we're reading it, if your brain can comprehend it, it'll take it as true, and you have to spend energy and resources to tell yourself that that's not true. It's a big deal. But the other thing is this constant repetition combined with this constant flip-flopping of the narrative is done intentionally. Number one, when you repeat something over and over again, it becomes internalized as a belief. So it doesn't matter how smart you are, you have to literally work against your own biology. You have to be really present and vigilant. These conversations are so important because they bring us into, I'm thinking about what I have to say. I'm thinking about what is being said, and it's not the same thing over and over again. So it's for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. You right here, Didi, and everybody who does all this are the counterforce to the brainwashing, and I mean that absolutely as a scientist, that is happening because our brains are being hijacked to internalize beliefs that we wouldn't otherwise intentionally take for our own. And the flip-flopping in this I'll do it, I won't do it, it was 2 weeks, it's 2 days, it's now, it's ceasefire, it isn't, all of that is uncertainty being weaponized again against our brains, because then you get this cognitive overload, and in the face of that overload, the brain collapses. You give up and you go, I don't even care. And you don't care what the truth is. Literally, you don't care what the truth is. And you just stick with whatever everybody else is saying. It's called epistemic tribalism. So it's really important. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. It's really important what you just said. This repetition is by design. All these things that we aren't even thinking about anymore because we think we're so, awakened and technologically advanced. Our bodies are all still the same. Our brains are still working the same. Those guys have figured out how to use it against you. If you don't know about it, you can't protect yourself against it. So this is really, really important, because like it or not, you're going to betray yourself. And that's what's happening to most people, not because they're stupid, but because they're being overwhelmed and because they're being, as it were, literally brainwashed.
1,000%, Doc. Right? And we see this in the consistent catchphrases, right? That I just went through, but some more to kind of hit you guys with. Hamas are terrorists. Hezbollah are terrorists. This is a terrorist.
Yeah,
They
terrorist is that
assign
op word, isn't it? Like anything that you want. We've been
exactly.
brainwashed. Terrorist is bad, but if you call it freedom fighter, but that's how the brain works. And the more they keep repeating it, the more we keep repeating. We need to keep saying this, even if we say it over and over again. Us here, everybody here needs to be saying whatever we're saying. Don't think, well, everybody's already heard it. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Didi. I apologize. I don't say anything, but when I do, I'm like, I have to get this out. Anyway, I'm getting ready for the next whatever. But thank you for listening.
No. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's so true. Let's go to Dragon because I know she has been waiting for quite a bit, so I want to get to them. Thank you so much for being patient, Dragon.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, I'm a female. Everyone assumes it's a male just because it's called dragon, but it's okay. Most people actually said great things, and I don't really have much to add to that. Besides that, yes, I completely agree what Ibrahim was saying. America is absolutely in this. It has been in this war from the beginning, and we do have to be very cautious because they are going to push this sectarian division. They are going to try to, awaken all these sleeper cells that are going to use false flags are going to come in. And we do need to talk about it more. We do have to also understand that what happened between Iran and Israel, it was pretty much a live exercise. They wanted to see what Iran was capable of and also how Israel was capable of defending themselves. But this time, after the ceasefire is over, it is going to escalate. It is going to get much worse, and America is going to be more involved in this. I hope everyone is actually aware of that. Thank you.
No, I totally agree. And that's really, really, guys, the purpose of the space today is I want everybody to be screaming this from the rooftop. Okay. They're gonna come for us on our soil. I'm not trying to be a fear monger. I'm not trying to be a manipulator. We've just seen this fucking unfold time and time again. Time and time again. And I don't want American lives. I don't want any lives lost. I don't want any innocent lives lost. Regardless of what your nationality is, your background is, I don't want to see lives lost, but I think it's going to happen here because they have to. We're just seeing so much dissent against the fucking state of Israel that they have to. We have become their existential threat. We, we the populace that are calling out their shit, right? Thank you so much for that, Dragon, and thank you for coming up. I believe it was Doctor Strange, and then we'll go to Astrid, and then we'll go back to everybody that's spoken before, unless Sarah or Abosita have anything that they wanted to weigh in on real quick or whenever. Sarah,
I'm
Abosita.
good for now. We'll get through the hands
we
and
the
what.
people, right? You
Uh,
mean we the people. That's who's gonna come
Yeah,
after.
yeah, we the
let's.
people. We the people, bro. We're the existential threat to them for real.
Yeah, 100%. We are. Yeah, we'll get through the hands and then maybe we can go into the Hegseth clips because I think Doctor brought up some amazing points about the psychology of this, and that's what it is. There's a lot of flooding the zone and a lot of that repetition of those key words, the obliterated, mostly damaged, blah blah blah. 2 weeks. Yeah, it's so maybe we can get more into that.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Let's go with Doctor. Unless Abosita, anything in, brother?
No, nothing for me. I was just thinking to myself, what you know what? Never mind. I'll get back to you guys when it's more relevant. Thank you.
No, no problem. And by the way, everybody, thank you so much for being here. I'm really, really happy to see that so many people have joined with us. If you could repost the purple pill, if you like it, your friends and your followers are probably gonna like it too. The big premise of this space today is a false flag. If you haven't heard me, there's so many people that have joined since I've started this conversation. Google, Yandex, whatever search engine you want to do, sleeper cells, and then you'll see it too. Let's see. I don't know. Oh, Astrid. Or no, Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange. Sorry, and then we'll go to Astrid. Go ahead, Doctor Strange. Welcome to the space.
Hi, Didi. Hi, Sarah. Busita. Hope you're all doing well. I need a couple minutes, so feel free to go to the next person and I'll get back.
Sounds good. Thanks for that. Welcome to the space, Astrid. Go ahead.
Hey, how y'all? I'm just going to do a quick mic check, make sure I'm clear.
All good, sis. Go ahead.
Okay, so I've been since like hour 30 listening to Soleimani's space and then followed you here. So I didn't really want to derail because I know this is geopolitics, but since you're talking about false flags and then Godfrey mentioned that PDF, which I went through, I thought I'll just take really quick, just 1 minute. I want to kind of give some clarity and maybe some peace to ease your minds if we had a false flag and it went to biological warfare. So, when we had COVID, it was mainly like a virus. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. This is my first time speaking.
No,
Um,
please. You know what? Take a second, sis. Don't be nervous. I'm so like a chill person, and anybody that says anything about anything that you say, like, one, we're all like, listen, none of us have a crystal ball. We're just throwing out shit that we think might happen. And I think with all of our ideas, we find the truth. So please don't be nervous. Take your time. Go for it, sis. Go for it.
Okay, thank you. Because I know like this is geopolitics and this might sound more medical, but I wanted to give a little, like I said, ease of mind to help everybody understand more of the biological warfare aspect. So, my expertise is in Germanische Heilkunde, which is translated into English as the Germanic healing knowledge. And it explains everything from manic depressive to toenail fungus. The man that discovered it was German. His son was killed in the 70s by Prince Emmanuel Savoy. Um, Let me think. So basically, he got testicular cancer after that. And then he thought, this is really weird. He's an oncologist, a doctor. He started questioning all of his cancer patients. Did something traumatic happen just before you were diagnosed with cancer? Through his studies, he discovered the truth. What actually causes cancer? Well, he's presented this medical studies, all of his research, all of his work, and they said, if you don't renounce this, we're going to take your medical license. So he fought it. They, when I say they, I mean the Zionist Jews, because they're all in all the universities and the medical boards, and you know how all that works. I don't have to explain it to you. And he would not renounce it because he said this is verifiable with CT scans. That was back in the 80s when that technology had just came out, and so he proves everything, every symptom in the body with a CT scan, and he has entire brain mapped out for that. And I tell you all this to say that they came after him. They tried to diagnosed him as crazy. They put him in jail, all of these things, right? So he's slandered. If you look Dr. Hammer up on any website, they'll just say that he's a sham. He lost his medical license. But the truth of the matter is this: that it has been verified by University of Treverna, and it's verifiable. I give you that little backstory to say that when they COVID came out, we were all scared to death of a virus, but viruses can't be proven at all. Now there is bacteria and fungi and mycobacteria. There are our we call them in the Germanische Heilkunde, we call them our helpers. Because if you understand that 5 biological laws of nature, we have all of these, you know, millions of little critters in our body to help us restore our tissue or either build up or break down. So he proved that what cancer is about, right? But then we can also prove, since viruses don't exist, everybody still has these symptoms. So you can explain every bit of that with the Germanische Heilkunde. That was my point. So the next biological warfare, if they choose that, I don't think that they'll go with virus because there's so many people. I don't know how many of you cross spaces and go into politics or go into like medical freedom kind of stuff, but that's where I'm at. And I think they kind of caught up to us that, most of us don't believe in the virus theory. And I think the next time they do something, this is my personal opinion, I think they're going to throw something like smallpox. And on that note, even back in 2019, I was looking into this. You can take special effects makeup artists and make some really gnarly. I've got screenshots of makeup artists back in 2019 of them recreating smallpox looks, for makeup. And this is where I want to like encourage everybody, look into it. And know that if they throw this kind of smallpox or any kind of like it could be another virus that I think that they'll try to scare us into another medical situation where the vaccines and all that kind of stuff. But know in the back of your head that the symptoms that you experience can be secondhand just from fear, like how everybody with COVID had all these weird different symptoms, but mostly it was respiratory because you have a fear of death that hits your lungs. Or if you have a scare fright, it could hit your larynx, right? So everybody responds to these different like biological warfare differently, and that's going to interpret differently in your body. You have different symptoms. So that was a load. I probably butchered it, but my main point is that if they throw something at us and it's some kind of new variant of a virus, or it may be something like a new man-made whatever, I don't want you to fear because I don't live in fear for that. I know how the body works and how, like I said, the 5 biological laws of nature, all that. And obviously there's the real threat of them maybe bombing us or infrastructure, maybe like a blackout over internet, things like that. But if it's more in the lines of like a healthcare scam, you should definitely, aside from this space, take some time and look into that. And then you'll just alleviate all of your kind of like mental fear around the biological warfare.
I appreciate that. So to kind of summarize and go through what you were saying, is that if we are hit with biological warfare, it doesn't mean that we're all going to just topple over and die. It means that it'll affect everybody in a different way. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Got it.
basically to summarize it. Yeah, just
Got it.
yeah.
Oh, thank you for that. Well, let's hope it doesn't get there. Let's hope that our intelligence community actually works for us, not against us for once. Let me get to the other hands. Sarah, I don't even know who the hell was whose hand went up first. Guys,
Sometimes I can see hands, sometimes I can't. So let's just go to Levant guy.
let's do that.
Yeah, I just want to make a point to disagree with the previous person that's saying they're trying to cause sectarian issues within Iran. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Iran is being, or probably the most patriotic country at the moment right now. I think, the war again was heavily propagandized. A lot of political theater took place. For example, the IDF rapidly publishing its IDF bombing footage within a day, sacrificing OPSEC. I think they did this at an attempt to demoralize Iranians, and a lot of media things took place. Prior, the IDF would take like years to publish IDF bombing footage, for example, or something like that. And then another part, which I forgot, I just gotta remember. Oh yeah, both sides have an offensive advantage. I think they know this, and people talk about the defensive failures of Israel without mentioning Iran. And then I would pin, IDF bombing footage, for example. But the nest is for that stuff. So yeah, I think both sides knew this, and I think political de-escalation was expected because of that.
Food for thought, for sure. Guys, just wanted to alert everybody to a couple of things that are in the nest. Suleiman's tweet, I think, hit it right on the money. Cyprus is about to get the Palestine treatment. And this is I believe, an article from Cyprus. Our country is being taken away from us. Israel is occupying us. Cyprus politician Stefano, in response to the growing number of Israeli Zionists buying land illegally in Cyprus. Where have we heard that fucking story unfold? Where have we seen that happen before? When's that happened, right? Anybody that's unaware, um, through the, what was it? The Hebrew Land Fund, I think it was called. I forget the name. Palestine, they only bought five, and this isn't a maximum, by the way, 5.6% of the land in Palestine. The rest they took illegally. Okay. Now Cyprus is getting it. So just throwing that out there. Okay, let's go oh, what was the other piece that I put in the nest? Oh, what's real? A demonstration, Sarah. This is funny as fuck. I don't know if you guys saw this. I think it might have been out last night. A demonstration video revealed by American Chief of Staff of a test of the GBU 57 bomb that destroyed Iran's nuclear program. It's fucking AI though. Like, show me the real video. Show me what's real. Like, what's real? I don't know what's real anymore. Really don't. No clue. I think maybe Luke. Let's go to Luke.
Yeah, I've been waiting a while. I wanted to respond to Ibrahim, which was making some very good points before. He was actually talking about something that's nearly unprecedented. That is a treaty between a corrupt, non-elected government or a bribed government and another government, more powerful to get what they want as far as the Golan Heights. I sent him a mention in the Blue Pill with a video of Trump saying, "The Golan Heights is mine to give away to you Jews. I hope you enjoy it," as he drove past, or words to that effect, as he drove past some Jews on a golf course. So that's in the Blue Pill. And yeah, and the other thing I want to talk about is some news from Australia. There was a huge court case that was live streaming this morning regarding the Australian Broadcasting Commission firing a journalist for quoting Human Rights Watch about the genocide in Gaza a year ago to this day when the case was brought up. and the mother of a Jewish